Salute, comrades. This is Behind the Walls Talk with your founder, William McCallum, and I thank you for visiting this domain. I'm here to give you an insight into the minds and hearts of those incarcerated that have been deemed voiceless. Well, this is where their voice and stories will be told for those of you who are concerned with human beings that are in prison for the mistakes they have made and for some of the injustices that were committed against them. Resolutions for reform is the goal and objective looking to be attained. Now step into our world. Welcome to Behind the Walls Talk with your host, William McCallum. I have a very special episode this evening. I have a guy that I've known for a long time. He's a very intelligent guy, very aware, very conscious-minded. He's very educated upon the law. And, he's in shape, older guy. He's an elder in the community. And, I'm going to enjoy this interview just as well as I know you all are as well. So without further ado, tell the listeners, my brother, your name and where you're from.
All right. Well, my name is Terry Wright. And my office number is 0455133. And I'm from Charlotte, North Carolina originally, although I've stayed in other states, New York, and Atlanta, Georgia, Knoxville, Tennessee. But my developmental years was in Charlotte.
Okay, then.
All right.
And, what were you charged with, and how much time did they give you, Mr. Wright?
I was charged with armed robbery. They convicted me in Mecklenburg County of robbing 2 establishments, and they say 5 people between them, 3 in one location, 2 in another. And the judge gave me 3 40-year sentences in the location where 3 people were present, and a 40 and a 25 in the location where 2 were present. And he ran them all consecutive, which would be boxcar, to a total of 185 years.
Now, for the listeners of Behind the Walls Talk, I want y'all to understand that he's under the old law, the Fair Sentencing Act. And they gave him all that time for here. 2 establishments was robbed. And this is all that they gave him consecutive charges, 5 consecutive charges for 2 establishments, but they gave 5 consecutive charges because of the individuals that was within these establishments. He was unjustly convicted. He was unjustly charged for the charges that he has. He shouldn't have this much time on him. And he really should be out in society right now with his family and his loved ones. How long have you now been incarcerated, my brother?
It's been 41 years. January of this year past made 41 years.
41 years.
Yeah.
Ever since 1984, right?
Yeah. Since January of 84. That's right.
Now, I was born on May the 29th, 1984. My wife was born December the 23rd, 1983. So you've been incarcerated as long as we've been born, as long as we've been living.
Yeah.
There's no man that should be incarcerated as long as you've been living, and nobody has died. And it was only armed robbery. There's no sense in that's cruel and unusual punishment right there in itself alone.
Yeah.
They gave you more than a life sentence for armed robbery.
Right.
Because a life sentence under the old law, they didn't have to do nothing but 20 years, right? Am I correct?
Well,
before they come
yeah,
to parole?
That's right. 20 years for parole. For parole eligibility, 20 years under the old law, yeah. That's right.
And your first time coming up for parole is January the 19th, 2026.
Right. That'll be my first time eligible. Yeah.
Yeah, that's not right. That's definitely not right. What we're going to do from Behind the Walls Talk, like I said, on January 19, 2026, I'm going to make sure that I have a character witness letter email to the Parole Commission Board for you. And we're going to see if we can get many more as well sent for you. because you shouldn't even be incarcerated. Not not as long as you have been. You should be out there with your family and your loved ones right now. Do you have any children?
Yeah, well, I have one daughter. She's 53 years old, and I have 5 grandchildren through her.
How does having a daughter and 5 grandchildren while being incarcerated affect your time?
Well, the impact from resentment, it can be a negative force on you, but I dealt with that quite a bit, and still off and on, it re-enters the mind. But
This call is from a North Carolina correctional facility.
I've tried to circumvent it by, keeping meaningful contact with them and trying to impact them with something positive and productive, to try to make amends that way. But I still know that with my daughter, I've been incarcerated in the past, so this is not my first bit. And I know the disappointment, that she harbors, even though she tells me, it don't impact her that way. But deep down inside, I know she has a lot of,
This call is from a North Carolina correctional facility.
Knowing that I misdirected myself and lost sight of my priorities, So we're kind of estranged, and I think it's a result of that, So it's just trying to keep myself together so that when I do get out there, I can try to make amends, in a more positive way to, restore some type of bonding, with her.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely understand that, man. And I hope that she can understand that, everybody makes mistakes in life. And plus, at the same time, though, there was an injustice that was committed against you as well that took you away from her for this much long of a time. So I hope, she'll come to and reconsider, create, making that bond stronger than what it was.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
But she's successful, she got a doctorate in psychology. And,
oh, yeah?
And, she has her own office, and she worked for the court system as far as evaluating people to see if they're competent for trials and for juveniles and stuff like that. So, she's in that field. Her husband is a successful businessman, so she's doing okay anyway,
Oh, that's great. I hope y'all can reconcile your differences and everything, because I would love to interview her too as well. Because she has a lot going on within the justice system, and one thing that we deal with and try to incorporate ourselves in is dealing with the youth. Because the youth are very important to us.
Right. That's right.
Yeah. Do you have moral and mental support from someone in society? If so, who are they, and what would you like to say to them?
I have a strong bond with my sister. I have a sister, I'm 2 years older than her, and we have a very strong bond. She's been very supportive, very, resourceful. She's retired from the telephone communications. And she raised one of my grandchildren. And a second one stayed with her for a little while. But she raised one. He's like 35 years old now. He's a long-distance truck driver. He's all over the country, driving for some trucking line, some high-end trucking line that he drives for. And he and I, we keep communication real well. So there's nothing missing with us, He relates with me as if I'm there, But everything that I have to say to him, he already acknowledges it, and we real cool. And I have a granddaughter that I'm cool with as well. But they understand the plight, of people that's stricken with economic, disadvantages in society, political, socially, economically. They understand the plight that they go through and how a lot of them takes the alternative to crime, to try to make up for their shortcomings, economically. And that's kind of part of the culture. And they're well aware of that, And I let them know, that I still don't try to make an excuse for myself, that I should have stayed within the guardrails of society regardless, because there's so many others that do. See what I'm saying? So that's mainly what I try to say to them, that they should make sure that they don't take that kind of logic, and misdirect themselves. So, that's what I would like to say to him and others.
Okay. Being incarcerated, you've been incarcerated for over 41 years now. We build camaraderie with brothers that's been incarcerated with us, alongside us. And I know that you probably had a brother or two that have got out and had their cases overturned and everything. Is there anybody that you would like to give a shout out to? You know what I'm saying? That you deal with personally?
Ronnie Long is, he's somebody I mainly would like to holler at in that manner. Him and his wife, Ashley.
There you go.
I blow my horn at them, let them know that I'm still trying to work on getting some type of attention to my situation.
This call is from a North Carolina correctional facility.
And they've been on deck in their own way too, so them and it's a family, the Bobby family, they lost one of their members recently, and which is the very most noble person I ever met in my life. Miss Bonnie Bobby, she passed, and her family's still grieving, and I could give a shout out to them because they've been supportive of me too,
That's great, man. Hey, what's your story on how you grew up as a...
This call is from a North Carolina correctional facility.
Well,
because I heard you earlier. I heard you earlier when you said that you was radicalized at a young age. So I'd like to know what are the experiences you've had, the traumas you may have endured, and what it was that may have led to your incarceration.
Yeah. Well, I grew up, under the guardianship of my great-grandparents. My grandmother, she was, her mother and father were slaves. She was born in like 1889 herself. So her and her husband, who was very quiet, he was uneducated. His parents went that same way, they were slaves as well. And they moved from South Carolina to North Carolina, to Charlotte area. I think during the gold rush era, and trying to get ahead. So she opened up something like what you call a liquor house. And it became very popular during that time. And from there, she took on the tasks of being a fence, receiving stolen goods. She started getting connected with the merchants and stuff in town. And she was buying a lot of stolen goods and stuff from the shoplifters and other thieves. And she running a liquor house, and then she started renting rooms upstairs for girls, to do their thing. So I kind of came up in that environment, where, right was like wrong was right, you know what I mean? So my gauge kind of got thrown off, through that. And as we got older, she tried to get us out of that culture, and she still ran her thing, but she tried to put us in a better community to raise us, me and my brother, anyway, try to raise us up more personally. And but still, we was impacted by that because we would go over there occasionally with her, and then that kind of crowd was still coming to see her, to borrow money, to get, she was doing bonding and stuff too, getting people out on bond. So, And then all my other relatives, was kind of like hustling and grinding during that time too, So I thought that was the way to go. And but during the '60s, when the civil rights struggles and so-called black nationalism and stuff was taking root, I got caught up at a very young age with some much older guys who was in colleges, and they call themselves in protest movements and forming cultural associations. And by me, listening in that audience, to the complaints and to the protests and stuff against the apartheid regimes in Africa and Pan-Africanism and stuff like that there was taking place. So, I started becoming very radical, and I lost kind of respect for what you call law and order. And so, as a result of forming that kind of consciousness, by any means necessary became my tool, So that caused me to get out there in the life of crime, and my moral consciousness was not, in the right order,
Yeah. Okay. With everything that you know and how you grew up as a youth, what is it that you would like to say to the youth out there now that are being misled and they find a life of crime intriguing?
Yeah. Well, we know the gang culture, is kind of taking over the youth nowadays, and the peer pressure, from those that's indoctrinated in that gang mentality, it put a lot of pressure on these young kids and on the youth. And if they're not strong-willed, they'll compromise and try to go along to get along, And so I say to them, that just like in my life, as I got older, after I've done all the collateral damage to myself, being incarcerated, missed out on employment opportunities, no retirement pension, no Social Security benefits. You're bonding with your family members and stuff. It has become, disconnected. So when you get older, you look back and you say, well, I thought I was...
You have 60 seconds remaining.
I was so healed. But then as you get older, you look back and you say, well, it looked like I was the one that was the square. And the squares was the one that really was slick, because they got all those benefits that you don't have. And all you got is a reputation in the streets, which really counts for nothing, So, I would say to them, don't give in.
You have 30 seconds remaining.
The peer pressure, to try to work within the guardrails of society and use your passion, your efforts to get ahead.
You have 60 seconds remaining.
Okay. Hey, call back, Mr. Terry Wright. Behind the Walls Talk will continue. Behind the Walls Talk is back with Mr. Terry Wright. And with what you were saying about the youth and everything, you're definitely correct about that, because, even myself, I had the choice of living that square life or being in the streets. And I wish I would have chosen to live that square life and, go to school and participate in my football programs and everything that was going on in my life. But I chose the streets. And, the streets, like you say, it ain't nothing good. The only thing you got is a little reputation, and that's nothing. That's nothing compared to being back out there in society and, being successful and being prosperous and being there for your family and doing the things that you would love to do, traveling and just having fun, enjoying life. But instead, I chose the path of being in the streets, and now being in the streets has me ended up incarcerated, in here doing time, having to follow under the guidelines and rules of these oppressors, staff administration. It's just, so I definitely understand your analysis, man. through the experiences that I went through myself.
That's right.
So,
it's very mutual.
Yeah, man.
But it's something that we have to wait.
That's
for all the changes we get
about
over.
the choices and decisions they make in life.
This call is from a North Carolina correctional facility.
Yeah.
This call is from a North Carolina correctional facility.
Man, actually, like, what have your prison experience been like, Mr. Terry Wright?
Repeat that question.
What have your experience in prison been like?
Oh, well, it's been a very educational, now it's come to a point where, you're getting sick and tired of being sick and tired of it because, I think what lessons that could have been learned has been learned. You begin to realize that, you really among the uncivilized, the majority, and that have been victims of the same type of, misdirections and mistakes that you have, and you're all kind of like bunched together now. And you're seeing a reflection of yourself, through others as you begin to, evolve and mature, through the prison system. And it wakes you up to the point where when you see the uncivilized, the more you realize that you're among the uncivilized, the more it civilizes you, And so I think that's one of the main features. And it also shows how society is misinformed, and the legislators, the prison administrators, are really in the wrong path as far as trying to transform the lives of those who's incarcerated. You realize that much more too, that there's some serious need for prison reform, some serious need for sentencing reforms, in a more comprehensive and meaningful manner, because the people that's passing these policies, down through the system, the majority of them have not worked in prisons as guards or program staff, and they are taking their advice from people that have been educated in correctional science and things of this nature, who've not really been, into the real live experience of it,
Yeah.
And so prison reform is needed so badly, in ways that, the public can't comprehend, unless they have to walk through these walls. So I kind of take from that it should motivate me to try to be involved in that type of advisory
That's right.
form or something like that when I get out there,
Okay, I know at one point in time of your incarceration, you worked in the law library.
Yes, I did back in the 80s when they were in the system.
You educated yourself well upon the law.
Yeah, well, they took them out, I think, in 89 when they shut them down, December of 1989. So from 84 to 89, I worked in the law library, the Central Prison, and at Eastern Correction.
Okay. That's good, because I know myself, I know some guys that you helped out personally with cases and stuff, you just help you, and that's one thing that I know that you do around the time of you being incarcerated. You help a lot of guys out that that's not aware of their cases, or aware of the injustices that were committed against them, or aware of the law, period, the procedures and
right.
the due process that they have to go through.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Have you had to... Go ahead.
You gonna say something?
No, I'll just go to the next question, but you can go ahead and elaborate if you like.
No, I was gonna say, yeah. Well, it seems that I was kind of given that gift. God uses directly and indirectly. So,
That's right.
in some situations, I feel that there was guys that were wrongfully convicted, and they didn't have the financial resources or the connections, to get attorneys out, private attorneys. So, in some situations, I feel that God may have used me, to fill that void, to assist guys with their legal problems that they otherwise would not have been able to get, So that's been one of the points, in my incarceration where
This call is from a North Carolina correctional facility.
God don't put no burdens on us greater than what we can bear, So
This call is from a North Carolina correctional facility.
So maybe that was part of my purpose, in life.
Yeah.
To go, yeah. To go
one thing I've come to understand since being incarcerated, it's the lives that we impact that creates our legacy of who we are.
Right.
So and I'm pretty sure you done impacted a lot of lives since you've been incarcerated, because I know for myself that you're a good dude. It's unfortunate that you had to do all the time that you're doing, but I know that you done impacted a lot of lives. You done changed a lot of mind frames,
right,
from the negative to the positive,
right,
regardless of your situation.
That's right.
So I salute you, my brother.
That's right. Yeah. Well, you
had to deal with... Go ahead.
I was just going to say that you have to keep from becoming negative about it, because if you become negative, it becomes spiteful and how to put it, rebellious, and you drinking the poison. You know what I mean? That you should
That's
drink.
right.
Yeah.
You're definitely right about that.
Yeah.
Hey, may I ask you, have you had to deal with the death of any loved ones or family or friends since you've been incarcerated? If so, who were they? And is there anything you would like to say about them or the impact they made in your life?
Oh, yeah. Well, my mother, my mother and I lost 3 brothers. I had one brother that we came from the same mother, and there was 5 of us through my father's side, though, and I think it's one of us left. But I lost 3 brothers since I've been incarcerated. I got a sister, that's still remaining. And, and my brother that, through my mother, we grew up together,
Yeah.
And he was a victim of the same thing, in and out of prison. Got caught up in the street life. He got caught up in that heroin addiction, and he lived a very short life. I don't think he even went out of North Carolina his entire existence. But and I lost my mom. She was, like I say, she was 15 when I was born. So she went to New York at a very young age trying to be a singer. And, and she just got caught up in that life and the street life of New York herself.
Yeah.
So, it's just a collateral damage, man, from the political, economic and social system that, that we're in. It's been mismanaged, So,
Okay.
it is what it is.
Will you tell the listeners of Behind the Walls Talk, like, what a second chance to society means to you at this moment in your life?
Well, for one thing, I'm very grateful, to see that there's an organization and movements still, that's out there going on. It's a godsend to have Behind the Wall and other movements and organizations that's trying to reach into the system and make a difference, a positive difference. And that's something that I hope that I can contribute to, once I'm out of here, if that happens. So, it's a godsend that you all are reaching in and putting our lives and our disposition, into the public. It's like many rivers that flow into one ocean,
Yeah.
And it seems that you all, are providing us that, that vessel,
I can definitely understand that, man. I'll be saying the same thing. Like, my second chance is a second chance for everybody that's incarcerated, because that's the same thing that I want to do when I get out of here, man. To speak out against the injustices, go out to the Capitol buildings, and, speak to the legislatures and do everything that I can to change these laws, change these policies, change the conditions, and just everything,
That's right. That's right. That's right.
That's right.
Yeah.
But, man, this has been a wonderful interview with you, man. And, I enjoyed it very much, man. You're a good brother.
You have 60 seconds remaining.
Uh-huh.
I'll tell you what, call that Mr. Terry Wright, so we can wrap this interview up, okay?
You have 60 seconds remaining.
All right. I'm off my
Behind
call
the
right
Walls
now.
Talk will continue. We're back with Behind the Walls Talk with my brother, Mr. Terry Wright. Is there something that you? Is there any last words you would like to share with the listeners of Behind the Walls Talk, Mr. Terry Wright?
Yes, I do. I wanted to speak on some prison reform bills and sentencing reform bills that's pending in the North Carolina legislature at this appointed time. And maybe you can get people that can call whatever state congressmen they can, House of Representatives or North Carolina state senators from their districts to try to get support for North Carolina. It's 2025 North Carolina Senate Bill 421, and that's dealing with prison reform. In that situation there, they are proposing to pay inmates, prisoners, incarcerated people, minimum wage, with the probability of receiving raises doing their work, opportunities.
This call is from a North Carolina correctional facility.
To fight forest fires, to agricultural reform.
This call is from a North Carolina correctional facility.
I guess to take the place of the migrant workers that are being deported out of the country. They're talking about using prison labor to fill a lot of those voids and paying them minimum wage so that they won't be, being exploited. But that's North Carolina Senate Bill 421. Then you have a running loan no cap act. That's North Carolina House Bill 704. I think it's North Carolina House Bill. It's North Carolina House Bill or North Carolina Senate Bill, one or the other, but that's 2025 NCHB or NCSB 704. And that's dealing with wrongfully convicted. They're going to take away the $750,000 cap that they've been having on paying those who've been wrongfully convicted for 10, 15, 20, 30, 40 years, and they're only receiving compensation of $750,000. And they have a Senate bill or a House bill, whichever one it is, that's removing that cap and start trying to mediate or arbitrate a fair compensation for those that's been wrongfully convicted. And that bill needs to be supported as well. I think it was filed in the legislature the 25th of March. That one and the prison reform on the 25th of March. Then you have another bill called Criminal Sentence Reduction Act. It's North Carolina Senate Bill 589. Check Senate Bill or House Bill. I don't have it correctly, so that I can speak on and say which one is right now. But it's one of those, and it's 589, 2025 NCHB or NCSB 589, and that one there deals with those that's been incarcerated for 10 years or more, that they can file a motion for appropriate relief, which is the post-conviction petition, into the courts for a sentence reduction based on their progress in prison, showing that they've been navigating without a lot of infractions or institutional violences, that they've been applying themselves to, academic and vocational, upliftments, and they can receive comments from correctional staff as well as those in society and family members, and it don't have to be based on no error of law that's in your case. It can just be from the 10 years that you've been incarcerated. It's kind of deemed to be sufficient for somebody to have been done transforming their lives. So, and then the other, extras come from things that you accomplished while you was incarcerated. So, in your views, you can write an affidavit concerning your concepts to the court, and then you have to be brought to court once you file it and be heard before a decision can be reached. So that's another bill that needs to be supported, and that's North Carolina House bill or Senate bill. It's one or the other. 589. All right.
Yeah, that's good. That's good, my brother, Mr. Terry Wright. We have those bills on the website, www.behindthewallstalk. We have those bills. They're on the website. And if you listeners out there, the same bills that he was speaking about, you could go up on our website. They're up under the North Carolina General Assembly. And like you said, that's what we need. We need the support of the people, because that's the biggest fight that we have right now. Because we have the solution and we have the intention. The only thing we need is the support of the people. So if you will, like my brother said, contact your local legislature, contact your local congressman, and speak out and support these bills. They have their phone numbers and emails. It's public knowledge. If you don't know who it is, you can Google what county you're in and who is your state who is the district legislature. The information will become available to you. Use that information and support them. We have examples on our website of emails that you can send to your local legislature, because that's what we do. We are in contact with local legislatures all across North Carolina. We send emails with them all the time. We get responses from them. They're very responsive. So if you will, just please contact them, reach out to them.
All right.
And then a lot of times your local legislatures, they're just like us. They have normal jobs, just like everybody out there.
This call is from a North Carolina correctional facility.
So a lot of times you never know who your local legislature is. It might be somebody that's working.
This call is from a North Carolina correctional facility.
Somebody that works at a funeral home, somebody that works at a clothing store, somebody of that sort, but they're just regular individuals out there in society. They just have this position that they have to uphold, that they're elected for.
Right.
Please contact them. And Mr. Terry Wright, man, I appreciate you, man. Hey, you're a blessing, my brother. And you don't know how much you inspired me during this interview that we just had. And I salute you, my brother. I congratulate you, man. I'm telling you, bro, we're in contact. So, whenever you want to reach out, you want to contact us, like I said, we deal with everything on the website. We deal with we deal with all the legislatures all across the board. We send emails all the time. Almost every day we're sending out emails. Okay, this is our fight. This is who we are.
Right.
This is what we stand for all across the board. When it comes to dealing with the legislatures, when it comes to dealing with the regional directors, when it comes to dealing with the Secretary of State, when it comes to dealing with, the prison conditions, guys' cases, helping everybody out in every which way that we possibly can. This is what we do. This is who we are. And this is in our hearts.
That's right. I'm going to talk to Ronnie concerning you all, man. I'll have him to call y'all and see what kind of contributions he can make. Ronnie Long.
We would love that. I would love to do an interview with the brother. Because I know the brother, he had his experience in prison and everything, had his case overturned, and I would love for him to tell the listeners what he's been through and the process that he had to go through. I would love to have that shared with the listeners.
Yeah, I definitely. Well, that's what happened with us. You were speaking about the law library experience. And what happened was in the 80s, God used me to assist him with emotional appropriate relief that got him back in court. And he had a very favorable hearing. However, when he returned back to the Department of Corrections, before the court had concluded his opinion on the case, he was accused of committing a rape against the inmate, falsely accused. And it went kind of viral in the news media, and as a result of that, the judge turned him down on his petition.
Yeah.
And so we tried to get it heard in the higher courts, and you know how they do. They deny review. So he gave up, and years later, he sent that petition to the Innocence Commission, and they started another investigation, to which eventually, led to him being exonerated. But we maintain, our connection, because he feels that, if it wasn't for me, it wouldn't have got started, So
that's right. You got the ball rolling.
Yeah. So he's showing gratitude in that way there,
And I salute the brother for doing that, because when brother can stand up and realize and recognize a true brother that helped him out in the time of need, that's a salute right there, man. That's loyalty.
Yeah, but he's been trying to find a venue, to get involved with. I think something else was going. Alan Rogers was trying to do something one time, but I think he felt they was wanting too much of his financial contribution. So that's what I'm saying. And,
yeah.
Well,
we're definitely very active. We're definitely very active, and we don't even look for profit. This is everything. Like I say, everything that we do, we do out of our pocket, and we just trying to help everybody out, man, the best way that we possibly can.
That's right. But when I speak with him, you'll be hearing from him very shortly.
Okay, make sure you tell him to check the website out. You have the website. he can listen to the YouTube channel, view the YouTube channel and listen to the interviews that we've already did, and just navigate the website, man, and see everything that we have going on.
Right. Okay. All right. I'll definitely get on that. So,
and with that said,
when will I be hearing? So I can send some pictures to have them
that's right.
placed on the podcast.
That's right. The pictures and everything will be up on the YouTube channel, up on the podcast, up on the website, our Facebook page. Everything will be out there, all your information, and everybody that family, friends, loved ones, comrades, everybody that can go out there and check you out.
Okay. All right.
And with that said, man,
we got to get
I salute you, my brother.
We got to communicate again, man. When would be the next time we can relate?
You have 60 seconds remaining.
Anytime you want, my brother. We got you on the tablet, so therefore you can contact us anytime you would like to.
You have 60 seconds remaining.
All right, I got you. All right, just when the shutter's down, getting ready to call count 2, man. Everything concluding at the appropriate time.
That's it.
Look,
hey,
so you made my day.
I salute you, my brother. Hey, much
right,
love, man. You keep your head up, my brother.
I'll do that.
I appreciate
y'all to the utmost fullest. That's right.
That's right.
You have 30 seconds remaining.
Right. Blessings to you. All right.
That's right. Peace. From behind
you have
the wall
30
talk.
seconds.